Alrighty, welcome back to week 9 of the Pokeball Draft League. This week we are going up against the Atlanta Ampharos. The biggest things I'm worried about on his team are the Meowscarada and the Slacking, both of which he brought. I'm expecting more of a defensive set from the Grimmsnarl. He has a lot of other offensive options on it. So for game 1, I want to start off with Hatterene and Earthworm. It lets me get out Trick Room and then maybe something like a Shed Tail. And it also covers a bunch of his team pretty well. I like this opener. It forces him to pick something to taunt if he's going to. Either the Hatterene if I get off, so I don't get off Trick Room, or Earthworm so I don't get off a Stealth Rock, which I didn't bring this week, but I could have. Or Shed Tail to get out one of my bigger threats. So he does start off with the Grimmsnarl and the Girafarai. I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm not sure really what to expect. The Girafarai, way too many vowels. And at this moment, I realize I fucked up because I have Trick and not Trick Room on Hatterene. I legitimately think this week is over. I now have one Trick Room setter, and that is on Rabsca. And Rabsca is not out. So I am not sure what I'm going to do here. I tilt just ever so slightly in this situation because I'm not thrilled. So I decide to go for the super obvious play of Girafarai or Psychic into Girafarai. Completely forgetting he has a Meowscarada in the back. You know, a dark type that can completely immune to Psychic that's probably going into it. At this point, though, I find out you can Magic Bounce a taunt, which is interesting, and now we have his Grimmsnarl taunted. We do get out Shed Tail, which is cool, because we don't have to worry about taunt anymore. And I figure without having to worry about taunt, let's go into our Belly Drum Hariyama. Even though we don't have Trick Room, if we can get Belly Drum up, we should still be able to do quite a bit of damage and just start getting off like Earthquakes and stuff like that with Sheer Force. Should do quite a bit of damage. I gotta figure out what I want to do with Hatterene. Do I want to bring it back since it doesn't have Trick Room, or do I just want to try to put some pressure on? I think he might try to remove the Hatterene, so I go with the Protect. And then just Protect and Belly Drum, figuring he's probably not going to be able to get rid of the Hariyama this turn. And he reads to Protect, which is unfortunate. So they break the Substitute, and then we find out one of Grimmsnarl's attacking moves, which is, right after this, it's Spirit Break, which makes sense. So luckily we do have Citrus Berry to get us above half health again. So we do get a Belly Drum off, but Hariyama is pretty worse for wear. He doubled up into that spot. We could have gotten off a Dazzling Gleam that would have done a decent amount, but he did a good job reading it. So luckily, we have a max attack Hariyama, but there's not a whole lot we can do with it, as it's probably going to go down here. I don't think it's worth switching it out, so I figure I'll just sack it at this point, get a Dazzling Gleam on some stuff. This is not a great start for us. Removing that. So we're going to get a little bit of damage out, luckily, with Dazzling Gleam at least. It's not going to do a ton, but it's our first damage of the game. So I'll take it. It does more to the Meowscarada than I thought it would, especially considering it's not super effective against the Meowscarada right now. He doesn't have Taunt out. Even if he did, we have Magic Bounce. So I really want to try to get Trick Room up with Meowscarada right now. And again, I hover over the Trick again, lamenting my mistakes. Still unsure if I'll be able to bring this back. I'll just keep firing off Dazzling Gleams. Let's get the Trick Room up, try to enable the rest of our team. He figures he'll go into that, which is fine. That, unfortunately, breaks our Focus Sash on Rabsca. But Hatterene doesn't get flinched, and we still get that off, which is really nice. Now we should have a speed advantage, which means Meowscarada is probably going down here. So I'll just go ahead and Dazzling Gleam again. And then I should Revival Blessing here. Yeah, I do. Okay. And that'll get Hariyama back up for whatever use it'll be. One of his biggest threats is taken care of, which I'm actually really happy with. The Skarmories didn't do a ton. It broke the, it took out Hariyama, but seeing as one of the two big threats I talked about, even in my team builder video, I was pretty happy letting it only do that to me. Rock Slide, Hatterene lives with 4. We didn't EV train or anything for that. Just happened to be the way it goes. Earthworm, and here's the other threat we were worried about. The Slaking. Slacking? Slaking? I'm going to go Slaking. I'm going to fire off a Dazzling Gleam. I'm fully expecting him to Terra Ghost, so I want to take care of the Iron Treads instead. Which is why I don't do anything into the Slaking that's going to Terra Ghost. I just want to take care of his Paradox Mon. Here's the Terra. I would have bet money I don't have that. It was Terra Ghost on Slacking this turn. And it was, so I'm glad I didn't buy press, excuse me. Does a third of Slaking's health. Brick Break, which we still live, which is great. He sees a Rocky Helmet, but that's okay. I mean, this Earthworm is so physically bulky. It's ridiculous. We'll fire Psychic into the Graphite. This was a mistake by me. I'm not sure why. I mean, Psychic was going to KO it. I should have just Iron-Headed. This is a cool little tech by him. Earth Eater could be really dangerous. I mean, there's no world where Psychic doesn't KO the Graphite. So this was a pretty big misplay from me. I could have gotten a body or a Iron-Head and maybe gotten a flinch. We see a Shadow Claw. Hatterene goes down. Which is alright. It lets us get other things out. I mean, the crit did not matter. We had 4 hit points. Is what it is. Anyway, I'm still kicking myself over body pressing. I shouldn't have. I wanted to get rid of the poison bug, and I thought too much about it. I focused too much on that without thinking of what was actually going to happen. Here comes the Grimmsnarl again, still at full hit points. I'm pretty wary of the taunt at this point, especially with Hatterene down. So at this point, we do want to take care of the... Once we take care of the Slaking, I'm not really worried about too much from the rest of his team. That'd be Meowscarada, Slaking, and the Iron Treads down. So we see that it is a screen set. Not going to help Slaking from that, but... Screens Grimmsnarl means we've already seen the Spirit Break, so I can guess that it's Taunt, Reflect, the last one will probably be Light Screen, and then that Spirit Break. We do see the Steel Resist Berry, which is good to know later on for next game. Twisted Dimensions going back kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Scyther, I'm not really sure what to expect. I wasn't expecting it to come this week. I felt like it was fairly weak overall. I wanted to see what my Terra type was. If it was Terra Steel, I would have probably Terra'd there and been fine. I'm not sure what Scyther really could have done to me. Sucker Punch doesn't do as much as I thought it would, to be honest. Still does a decent amount. There's a theme games 1 and 2 where I probably should remove the Grimmsnarl faster than I am. Also, once again, Earthworm is just physically bulky. It's amazing. But I probably could have doubled up into the Grimmsnarl. Or swapped it so I had King Gambit Ironhead into the Grimmsnarl instead of Earthworm. Want to keep it around an extra turn. It does absorb an attack, which is great. I'm not sure the wing attack would have done anything, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not sure the wing attack would have KO'd the Earthworm. I could probably run Calcs on it, and it would be interesting. But I'm not sure it would have done 15 damage. So while I was editing this, I decided to actually look at the calcs, and wing attack probably would have KO'd if he was full spec'd into attack EVs. It would have KO'd by 2 to 5 hit points. It would have barely KO'd. But KO'd it would have, so the fact it was that close is scary. Ironhead, he lives with that little. I figure I can just Sucker Punch trap him and go in. I'm a little surprised at his move. He could have done just another pounce. Sucker Punch failing is interesting, but him showing me Sword Stance gives me a lot of valuable information for the next match. It's over. This match is over anyway, even after the really bad start by me and him reading the Protect on the Hatterene to take care of the Hariyama. But that's game one. I'm pretty happy with this. I didn't have to bring Torkoal out. I still had Hariyama in the back. So yeah, there's game one. Game two, I need to change things up a little bit, especially now knowing that Hatterene does not have Trick Room. So I need to think about what he has. I love leading Torkoal. It forces people to respect the Eruption and deal with it. So I can go Torkoal, Earthworm. Earthworm, same reason. Earthworm lead is really nice, especially against his team. Forces them to respect the Shed Tails. And Torkoal didn't get any usage last game. So maybe we can do something with it. His Iron Treads is part Steel type, so if he leads with that, we might be able to get a good Eruption off. I don't think he'd lead with a Scyther, but it's something. So we can also pop the Steel Berry on Grimmsnarl here, which would be really nice. So I'm just going to go with Eruption. Force him to go into the Torkoal. And Body Press. I thought he would save the Trastalization for Slaking. But minor spoiler alert, he doesn't. He actually Trastalizes into ground here, eliminating the Steel type. And the weaknesses that come along with it. Which is really annoying, seeing as, you know, we went for Eruption and Body Press. So the ground's a big one. Light Screen to stop the Eruption coming through. And then Rock Slide. Here I'm hoping for no flinches. Earthworm avoids, which is great. It wouldn't have done a ton anyway, but now we won't get flinched. We get the Body Press. It does a quarter to a third. Torkoal does flinch though, which is really unfortunate. Like really unfortunate. So here, I'm just going to go Heat Wave, try to get the damage out. I'm going to keep trying to get rid of those Terastallized Iron Treads. I figured Grimmsnarl was going to go for Taunt, so I didn't want to go for it. Stomping Tantrum after a Rock Slide miss is really an aggravating combo. And Torkoal's nothing. Torkoal didn't do any damage, which is aggravating. So it looks like it's not quite... Body Press isn't quite doing a third. So I'm still a little bit wary about this. I think I can do some damage with Hatterene. And at least stop more taunts from going out. Again, lamenting the fact I do not have Trick Room. Would have been great here. Especially since I now know it's taunt immune. So I'm trying to figure out, do I continuously try to take out this Iron Treads, or do I pop the Steel Berry on Grimmsnarl? I did not place enough importance on removing Grimmsnarl this match. The Ironhead one-shotting Hatterene was not a fun realization. I was pretty annoyed by that. So already we're down 2 mons and he hasn't lost any. He has double screens up again. This is not a good start for me. Rabska, I figure there's this coming in. I do the double up into the same thing again into an ineffective. I thought I did, sorry. I thought I was going to body press again and then have Psychic go into a Dark type, which would have been aggravating. This is fine. It breaks the Focus Sash, which is unfortunate, but it did 10 damage to Earthworm. We get rid of the Steel Berry, which is going to make King Gambit a lot more effective later. Rabska picks up another KO. Rabska has a surprising amount of KOs this season, which is great. Not a lot of them are like tons of damage. It just happens to get the last hit. Probably like cheeky last hits, as my opponent might be expecting me to do, Protect, Trick Room, or Revival Blessing. But I figured Taunt was coming in on the Rabska. See what I could do. Here's Scyther. A little bit aggravating. But I want to put out King Gambit. I do not want Scyther getting off a pounce into Rabska for 4 times effective damage. At this point, I, again, choose not to take out the Grimmsnarl for whatever reason. The Grimmsnarl is shutting down my entire Trick Room strategy. And my dumbass is just going, nah, this is okay. Yeah, Pounce probably would have KO'd the Rabska, which would have been annoying. Ironhead does next to nothing. Spirit Break, unfortunately, we're still part Dark type. But we do resist it a little bit. The light screen being worn off isn't a huge deal right now. He still has Reflect up. So now, I should Ironhead into the Grimmsnarl. That is what should happen. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Alright, I mean, King Gambit speed falling is not a huge deal. Unfortunately, we still don't get a flinch. We live with 10 hit points. Hatterene with 4 hit points last time. King Gambit with 10 hit points here. It just doesn't do a ton. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so we do manage to take out the Scyther, which is something at the very least. Scyther's not a big threat on his team. So here's my opportunity. I get to Shed Tail into my Trick Room setter. It's behind Substitute. It's safe. We can get off Trick Room. We can get off Revival Blessing. This point, I'm feeling pretty good. Even though we've lost Torkoal, we've lost Hatterene, we're going to lose King Gambit here. I'm feeling pretty happy. He still has Meowscarada and Slacking in the back, though. So I have to be careful about those. But again, as long as we get Trick Room up, we can bring something back with Revival Blessing. We're in decent shape. Figure I'll try to get some damage out somewhere. And then here, now we try to get Trick Room up. We're all set. Taunt goes through Substitute. Not something I knew. I don't think that's something you generally think about. But yeah, Taunt goes through Substitute. I was not happy to find that out. All the more reason I should have removed the Grimmsnarl earlier. Also, I'm very much kicking myself for bringing Psychic this week instead of Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz would have done so much against them. But we get Hariyama out. Maybe we can do something with it. I feel like Belly Drum's a bit greedy here, especially because it's not behind Substitute. Play rough. Citrus Berry helps. Spirit Break. Same thing as game one, just with a couple fewer steps. Play rough and Spirit Break. Poor Hariyama this week. I had so many hopes for it and Belly Drum doing stuff. But Psychic does about 25%. We're in a little bit of trouble here. We have Earthworm and Rabska, both at half health for the rest of the game. He already Terastallized, so I don't have to worry about the ghost typing. I didn't really have an option here. All Rabska can do is Psychic. So. Yeah, he doesn't have an option. He either had Truant, because he didn't have the Graphite utility here. Body Press one-shotting Meowscarada is huge. Like, that's really a big deal. Spirit Break. There goes the Substitute, unfortunately. Psychic into Grimmsnarl obviously does nothing. We are no longer taunted. Can you guess what's gonna happen next turn? We're gonna get taunted. It's about all we can do. Yeah, there's the taunt. I knew it was coming, so I figured I'd just make sure to get rid of the Slaking. Brick Break was a new one. Still doesn't KO. We live with 18 hit points. Because, again, Earthworm is scary strong, and I'm glad I double up into the Slaking. Rabska picks up another KO. It has 2 this combat. This combat alone, it has 2. Light Screen being gone is huge. And now we have Graphite and that damn Grimmsnarl. So at this point, sorry about that. My continuous glucose monitor is acting up. But at this point, we know we have to get rid of the Grimmsnarl, because if it's Rabska versus Grimmsnarl, we don't have a chance. And I definitely need to take this opportunity to try to KO the Graphite. Because, yeah. I just don't want it putting in more work than it has to. If I can eliminate that and put Earthworm versus Grimmsnarl, there's a chance. Knockoff, and we live with 4. Focus Sash wasn't a big deal anyway. We live with 4. We KO with Iron Head, which is beautiful. And now the all-important one, Psychic, but with the new Terra, like with our freshly Terastallized Rabska, it picks up its 3rd KO of the combat. And we win with a combined 22 hit points in this combat. It was a 2-0, but it was close. GG's. Scary team. See everyone next week.